Hi, and welcome back. This is Rob Thomas, your Everything Microsoft Enterprise Cloud Architect. And today I want to take the next step and talk about Azure as an innovation enabler. How can I enable you to leverage some of the innovations in Azure and really go a little bit more deeper and talk about the next four pillars. Now, before we do that, I do want to give a shout out to our sponsors, and that is our enterprise software solution team. These enterprise software solution, these guys are great for any of your Microsoft 365, Microsoft Dynamics, Power BI, Copilot, Azure, Windows Server, and Microsoft SQL Server products, also any Cisco, Adobe products. I highly recommend you reach out to these guys. They're a wonderful group, good team, a certified Microsoft solution partner. These guys are great. They will help you. They're affordable. They understand mom and pop shops, medium-sized companies. Again, highly recommend reaching out to this team. And without further ado, let's jump into Azure as an innovation enabler. Now, when you get into Azure, let's cover this, and I'm going to make this a little bit more smaller so you can see it. So Azure is broken down into four pillars to better understand it, right? Because before I was explaining to you what are you responsible for, right? Now we're going to get a little more deeper. Like when you say, hey, and I'm going to use this sample, like applications, data, runtime, and like what am I going to really use it for? And this is where leveraging it out, virtual machines, cloud servers, websites, and mobile services is really, really important. Now, I'm going to use a real life example. Like, let's say I got my WordPress site. I got my Azure up and running. I want to move my WordPress site off of DigitalOcean. So if you go to like Cloudways, which I use, Cloudways is great. I go into Cloudways, but Cloudways doesn't have Azure in there. It has other competitors. It's going to be AWS, GCP, Google services. So as you go in and you realize I'm looking at the services and they're super expensive, I want to go with DigitalOcean. So you start your business on DigitalOcean, and on DigitalOcean, you automatically get a free MySQL Server database and you get Redis cache. So you automatically right here notice, oh man, I really need these two things to really help me with my data, right? I don't get any of these concepts of machine learning, stream analytics, data factory, storage and backup. Now, there's some type of backup feature in DigitalOcean that you can do that, but it's not flexible. Like it's just kind of bare bones generic, right? And then the other thing you notice when I'm talking about a virtual machine is a lot of this lives on the server. So it will spin up the server, and then that server would be connected to the database, and I'm able to do things on that server. Also on that server, I have a file share capability where I can just store files on that server, and that's how WordPress works. With WordPress, you'll have a space on the server where you're able to store files, and then you also have a database where it'll call that database and it'll pull files from that database to serve up your website. And you want that for your website to scale and your website to handle this concept of load balance. And I'll get more detailed in the next video, but I can have multiple users and it can balance the load of I can have 10 users one day and I can have 100,000 users one day. And I need a load balancer to balance the load that's coming to the actual server where it's serving up the website, right? And then I have that, and I showed you in a previous video, API management. I was able to take Namecheap, where I purchased my domain, took that domain, right? And then I handed that domain to Microsoft, right? And then once Microsoft got that domain, I was able to open up an API and then plug that domain from Microsoft to my WordPress site. So now Microsoft is managing everything via the APIs, all of the emails. Anybody emails me, guaranteed 100% they get the emails. If I don't get the emails with this monitoring infrastructure inside of virtuals and cloud services, I'm able to see, oh, emails weren't delivered, and this is the reason why. And I also can scale. I can scale my company from 10 people to 1,000 people because this infrastructure can handle the load. I can scale my company to 10,000 people, and this infrastructure can easily handle the load. And that's the beauty of using virtual machines, cloud services, and websites, right? And I can also Create a website. Myself, I can move my whole website from WordPress and build something like on a .NET infrastructure and build that on there. Or I can use a combination of the website services with this and WordPress collected together. I can also install WordPress onto this infrastructure, which is another thing that takes it to another level, where I spin up my own SQL Server database instead of my SQL database, and using Reddit and able to get more performance and more efficiency out of the platform and not break the bank, right? And then I'll have multi-factor authentication with phones. So now I'm able to bring my phones and my Androids, my tablets over, and I can manage them and connect them. And I'm a big Microsoft, I'm a big Apple person. So I'm able to use my Apple mobile services with this infrastructure to kind of manage things and keep things going. So I hope this was super helpful. It's broken it down into virtual machines, cloud services, websites, and mobile services. This is technically the depth and breadth of Azure. And this is and Azure has 200 applications, and it's always growing. So this whole these boxes are going to grow, because as Azure gets more better, it's going to introduce more complexity. And this is just a good visual representation of all. This is, don't get too intimidated, but this is just a technical architect slide that really gets into high level overview of these 4 pillars. And this is why I like this, because it's a little bit more easier to understand than this slide. So this is why I love to show this to novice or people that have been around the platform and they understand it. This really helps them to enable and make them successful. Now, next video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you about logging in and getting in and looking around and poking around in the environment. But thanks so much for going on this journey with me so far. Look forward to connecting with you in the next video, and you have a great day. Thanks. Bye.